Steve Sarkisian is on fire. Texas just landed another commitment for the class of 2027, and we're talking about it right here on Locked On Longhorns.
Intro.
You are Locked On Longhorns, your daily podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. You were locked on to the Texas Longhorns. I'm your host, BK Brad Kellner. Some very good recruiting news here on a Tuesday. Earlier this morning, the Longhorns went out and landed a big-time commitment, and honestly, a slightly unexpected one. Tyler Alexander has committed to Texas. The defensive lineman out of Palm Beach Central High School in Wellington, Florida, committed to Texas over Georgia, Notre Dame, and Colorado. Those were the other three finalists. He had a number of other offers from around the country as well. And this is a really nice win for Steve Sarkisian, Kenny Baker, and this Texas coaching staff. Because even as of last night, I don't know how many people thought Texas was going to be the pick here. And there was not a scheduled commitment date or time for Tyler Alexander. This was sort of a rocky road of a recruitment. Colorado had momentum at different points. Georgia was viewed as a serious factor. As recently as last week, Alexander himself had talked about Georgia being the leader in his recruitment. Notre Dame was involved too. Alexander took official visits to all four of those schools. So this was not one where Texas kind of led wire to wire and just had to hold on late. This was Texas making a move late. The Longhorns were able to get Alexander in town this past weekend on an official visit. They made a real impression, and they closed very quickly after that. You know, for some guys, OVs are just a confirmation, but other times an official visit can totally change a recruitment. And with Tyler Alexander, that is exactly what happened. His trip to Austin totally changed his recruitment. I mean, the Longhorns came into this past weekend maybe third or fourth of those four finalists. Alexander even said it himself at the end of his visit. Like, Texas was third or fourth place going into the trip. Alexander left Texas saying that the Longhorns were in his top tier. 2 days later, he's committed to the Longhorns. That's exactly what you want your final official visit to do. Now let's talk about what Texas is getting here. For those of you tuned in on YouTube, we've got some highlights from Alexander's junior season in high school football in the state of Florida. He is a big human being. 6'3.5", around 315 pounds, another big-bodied interior lineman in this 2027 class. And we talk about it all the time. You cannot fake it up front in the SEC. You cannot build a championship roster with a soft defensive line. You need to have bodies inside, and Texas has made it very clear over these last few cycles that they truly understand that. Boy, the Longhorns have really gone into the state of Florida for a lot of those big humans. Myron Charles in the 2025 class out of the state of Florida. James Johnson last year out of the Sunshine State, and now they go right back there to land Tyler Alexander. So 3 straight cycles where Texas went into the state of Florida, SEC country, and grabbed a difference-making interior defensive lineman. That is not an accident. That is a pattern. Texas is not just recruiting Texas. They are recruiting nationally for all sorts of talent, but especially on the defensive line. And if you could go into Florida with all of the in-state schools that they have there and poach a kid who also has interest from Georgia and Notre Dame and a number of other programs, that is a very strong sign. Now, Alexander's got some developing to do. He's not a plug-and-play day one superstar, but he's got some real tools. Again, mentioned his size a little bit ago, 6'4"-ish, 310, 315 pounds. The body is already there. I mean, he looks like a college defensive lineman going up against some of the high schoolers that he sees on Friday night. He's got the frame. He has the strength. He's got lower body power, and he's got what you need to live inside. And I love, he plays with effort. You could see it on the tape. He plays hard. He pursues the football. He doesn't quit on reps. He doesn't take too many plays off. And for a guy his size, he moves pretty well. Like, that's what you want to see. When you're evaluating young defensive linemen, especially interior guys, you're not always looking for a finished product. Most of them aren't, but you're looking for traits. You're looking for size. You're looking for power, motor, movement ability, and some physicality. And that's kind of what Tyler Alexander has shown me. And Texas clearly believes in this kid. They clearly think that there is a lot to work with. 46 tackles as a junior in 2025, 20 tackles for a loss, 2.5 sacks. Those are pretty damn good numbers for an interior guy. And they tell you that he was disruptive. He was getting into the backfield, making plays behind the line of scrimmage. It's exactly what you're looking for a D tackle. You don't just want a big body who takes up space and never shows up on the stat sheet. You want someone who can hold at the point of attack, but also create some negative plays, some havoc plays too. And Alexander has shown flashes of that. Can be a 1 technique, can be a 3 technique. Curious to see how Texas decides to use him and how his body decides to develop. Maybe he turns into more of a true nose down the road, but he's got a little bit of versatility, and you're looking for different body types on the interior. You need guys who can anchor, but you also need guys who can penetrate, guys who can handle double teams, guys who could play multiple alignments. Alexander's got enough size and enough strength and enough skill to give Kenny Baker options once he gets to the 40 acres. There's still work to do, of course. That's okay. That's part of the evaluation. There are times where he plays high, and that can happen with defensive linemen at this level. But again, a lot of encouragement here. He's got natural strength. He fights back, and the tools are absolutely there. Now we'll wait and see if the technique can fully catch up. That's why development matters. So I like this pickup here for the Longhorns for a number of different reasons. I've seen a comparison to Vernon Broughton before Broughton developed into an NFL draft pick. Remember, it took him a while to kind of figure it out at Texas, but when he did, he was one of the more impactful defensive linemen that we've seen around here in a while, and ended up being a 3rd-round draft pick in the NFL. I would love for Tyler Alexander to have that type of career path. I'm not saying it's a guarantee to happen, but that's sort of the developmental idea or pathway that you were looking for. Similar type of body, physical traits, strength, a lot of similarities to Vernon Broughton coming out of Cy Ridge High School in the Houston area. If Texas can maximize Tyler Alexander, he could become a very productive player in his college career. I like this pickup. Again, this is how you build a defensive line room. You stack bodies, you stack traits, and you stack developmental timelines. And by the time guys like this are redshirt sophomores or juniors or seniors, they're making an impact, and you've got a real rotation. You don't feel like you need to bring in 5 transfer portals every offseason like you did last year. You want to be able to build these guys through the high school ranks and through development. It's a lot cheaper to do that versus having to go out and get war daddies on the defensive line out of the portal. That's what the best programs do. The class context, this matters for that too. I mean, Texas got Kasi Currie committed last week. That was a big addition. Now they add Tyler Alexander, so that's 2 interior defensive linemen in the 2027 class. Again, trying to build in the SEC, you want to stack guys like that. And boy, the Longhorns just continue this ridiculous run that they've been on. 6 commits in the last 3 weeks. Alexander becomes commitment number 17 overall in this class. I think there's another commitment coming later today. Wink, wink. We'll talk about that if and when it happens. But a nice pickup. Shout out to Kenny Baker here too. This is a good win for him. Alexander, after leaving Austin this past weekend, said he was very comfortable with Kenny Baker, said he was comfortable with the scheme, said he liked the way Kenny Baker coached, and you could feel his passion for the defensive line. Baker did a great job here. So did Steve Sarkisian. So did the current players, Jamarian Carlton, James Johnson. They spent a lot of time with Tyler Alexander on his OV, and I like the James Johnson piece, right? Another Florida defensive lineman who makes the trek to Austin. He could talk about his experience and his transition going from the Sunshine State to the Lone Star State. That makes the path feel more real. That makes Austin feel more comfortable. And you've got somebody from day one that you can lean on and learn from. So player relationships, coaching relationships, those things really stood out. I mean, Texas, you've got to crush. It's kind of obvious. You got to crush an official visit to go from 3rd or 4th place to getting the commitment just a couple of days after. That's why these OVs matter, and Texas has done a great job with them in recent years. The Longhorns continue to own the month of June. But, yeah, they entered the weekend trailing. Again, they get the commitment just a couple of days later. That is fantastic. Way to go for Texas, this coaching staff, this recruiting staff. I like the pickup. Another big interior defensive lineman with traits, a strong motor, and developmental upside. And also, you continue the Florida defensive pipeline as well. Kasi Currie, Tyler Alexander, a very nice start on the interior defensive line in 2027. Build from the inside out. I love it. Got to win in the trenches to win in this league. Texas is doing that. They just got bigger and better on the defensive line with the addition of the 4-star defensive lineman, Tyler Alexander. So there you go. Just a quick sort of instant reaction, a few thoughts on the Longhorns' newest pickup. And this momentum is crazy right now for Steve Sarkisian and company. And again, I think more good news will be coming on the horizon today and throughout the course of this week. That'll do it for this one, though. If you made it this far, number one, God bless you. Number two, please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. We'd love to get y'all's thoughts on this pickup and who else you'd like to see as a part of this class of 2027 for Texas. Really appreciate y'all's continued support of Locked On Longhorns. We'll be back with more recruiting conversation coming your way very, very soon. But that'll do it for this one. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, horns up, mic's off. We'll see y'all soon. This is Locked On Longhorns. But before we go, a quick shout out to our friends at Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in just one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place and it works together, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of just managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working towards the same goal. That's true in sports, just like it is in business. We talked about it. The Texas coaching staff, some of the Texas players, the support staff, all of them working in unison to help the Longhorns land a commitment from Tyler Alexander. That matters. Everyone needs to be aligned. Everyone's got to be rowing the boat in the same direction. Operations are really, really important. Texas proving that on the recruiting trail right now. And it's simple. Great organizations win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's ODOO.com/lockedon.